Hey everyone, my name is Li Quanren, and today I am excited to share my research on a topic that's becoming critical for tech giants: how employees really feel during times of high talent mobility. My study focuses on Microsoft, looking at their employee reviews and global talent mobility data from 2020 to 2025. So why did I choose to look into this? Let's say into the background. In the tech world, for companies like Microsoft, employee experience isn't just an HR buzzword. It's a strategic KPI. We have seen a shift from traditional annual surveys to real-time feedback on platforms like Glassdoor. At the same time, Microsoft handles a huge volume of labor condition applications for talent visas. These fluctuations represent both pressure and opportunity for the firm. My core question was, does this external mobility pressure actually change how employees feel inside the company? To answer that, I set out three very specific goals for this project. First, I wanted to describe the patterns. What do the ratings look like across different years and job families? Second, I wanted to quantify things. Is there a statistically significant link between labor condition, application case volume, and employee ratings? And finally, I wanted to interpret the stories using text analytics. I wanted to find out why employees feel the way they do by digging into their actual comments. Before we get to the numbers, let me quickly explain the lens I used to look at this data. I based this study on the job demand resource theory. Think of mobility intensity as a single. When mobility is high, it could be a demand, maybe more work for managers and teams, or it could be a resource, bringing in new talent and growth. As you can see in the diagram, I'm trying to see how this external single impacts the internal employee experience, measured through both ratings and sentiment. Now, let's talk about the raw material for this study. I used two massive datasets. On one hand, I had nearly 17,000 Glassdoor reviews, which gave us a rich look at ratings and narratives. On the other, I had over 43,000 labor condition application records. One thing to keep in mind, because the review data doesn't have exact office locations, I linked these two datasets at the yearly level. This allowed me to see how the overall of the company changes as the volume of visa applications shifts. Processing this much data wasn't a one-click job. Here is how I handled it. As you can see in this pipeline, I went from raw fields to a cleaned core dataset. Two key things happened here. First, I mapped thousands of granular job titles into broad job families, like engineering or sales. Second, I used a tool called Weather to turn raw text into a sentiment sentiment score from -1 to +1. This gives me a numerical way to measure the emotional tone of every single review. So, what did we actually find? Let's look at the trends. Take a look at this chart. The dashed line shows our mobility proxy label condition application case. You will notice a huge peak in 2022. This was a massive year for mobility activity. Interestingly, if you look at the solid line review value, it doesn't perfectly follow that same path. What this tells us right away is that mobility intensity fluctuates independently of how many people are writing reviews. Overall, Microsoft's ratings stay quite high, hovering around 4.3 or 4.4, which suggests a very stable, positive baseline. But the trends only tell part of the story. I use the regression to look deeper into these relationships. Here are three big takeaways from the models. First, former employees rate Microsoft significantly lower than current ones, about a 0.25 drop on average. Second, mobility intensity actually had a new effect on the overall rating, meaning high visa activity didn't tank the company score. However, it did have a positive link with work-life balance. This suggests that during periods of high mobility or hiring, the company might be better at managing workloads or providing resources that employees perceive as a win for their work-life balance. Numbers are great, but I wanted to know what people were actually seeing during these items. I used the LDA to group thousands of commands into 12 themes. The happy topics were mostly about work-life balance and the amazing culture. The at-risk topics, the ones linked to lower ratings, were about management decisions, pay concerns, and workload. Look at the heat map on the right. It shows that themes are not the same area. For example, compensation is a much bigger topic in sales than in engineering. This means HR shouldn't use a one-size-fits-all approach, so how can Microsoft use this information? Based on the data, I have three recommendations for HR leaders. First, stop looking at just the average rating. You need to combine scores with sentiment and topical traits to catch issues early. Second, pay attention to the labor condition application. The gap between current and former employees is where your brand risk lives. And third, if the data shows sales is worried about pay, fix it there, rather than doing a company-wide culture program that might not be needed. Finally, let's summarize what we have learned. In conclusion, Microsoft has a very stable employee experience while external mobility moves in waves. It doesn't negatively impact the overall satisfaction. However, it is a sensitive signal for specific fields like work-life balance. Of course, this study had limits, is observational, so we are talking about social issues, not direct cause and effect. Also, Glassdoor data is voluntary, which can introduce some bias, but as a framework, this proves that public data can be a goldmine for HR analytics, and that brings me to the end of my presentation. Thank you so much for your listening.